How to reframe anger. Hello and welcome to Wholeo-Awakening's Reframing Negative Emotions. We know that anger, if not well guarded, balanced, and mitigated, can cause serious loss in one's life. For example, it can end relationships, it can end careers. It can change the landscape of lives, period. The reason? Because we have no control over our emotions. In fact, the Buddha says that anger is one of the three poisons, along with greed and ignorance. Powerful statement. And in fact, Buddhists go on to talk about how one can balance one's emotions, how one can balance anger. One exercise they do is simply to close your eyes, give anger a form, and as anger sits across from you, smile at it. That's a powerful technique. It's powerful in that it gives anger a form, and it's also powerful in the sense of smiling at it or accepting the emotion, saying, yes, I am becoming angry, and this is how I respond to my own emotion, with a smile, with joy, to counterbalance it. If anger is fire, joy would be the water that quenches anger. And it's very important for us to be able to do that on a whim and be able to reframe that negative emotion so that we can live our lives better. So, how do we do that? Well, we have to first learn to interrupt anger. And how do we do that? Well, by noticing the physiological changes that take place when anger begins to manifest. For example, one change in the body is tension. And tension falls on us like a ton of bricks, doesn't it? We notice tension in the jaw. Our jaw begins to clench. Maybe our entire body begins to clench up. And tension just begins to fill our entire faces and go through all our entire body, descending down on us like rain. Our heartbeat begins to pound harder and faster. And of course, we break out in a sweat. We begin to have sweaty palms and sweaty brows. These are physiological changes that take place in the body because of the fiery emotion of anger. So, one thing that we can do is we can take note of this anger, of these physiological changes, and step back and begin to do what the Buddhists often do. And close our eyes and accept these changes that are occurring within our body and give anger a form that is sitting straight from us and smile at it. Powerful technique that reaps great rewards. Here's the emotional formula for anger, and pretty much for most emotions. We have an experience, then we have an internal dialogue or a monologue. We represent that experience, we interpret that experience, which gives birth to emotion, and then it gives birth to behavior. Know this, anger is created by internal images, internal sounds, and language. And if we can then somehow in some way go in there and reframe those, change those, augment those, then that will give rise to something even better than anger. And also we will be able to quench the flames before it spreads like a wildfire and devours everything and destroys everything that we've worked so hard for, our relationships and our careers. But we have to first be able to reframe those images, sounds, and language, those words that come in our minds when we have those experiences. One way we can do this is changing the picture. We think in pictures, oftentimes. A lot of people think in pictures, more so than logic. And notice I said images, parentheses, are interpretation. What I meant by that is oftentimes what comes with our pictures is the price tag of interpretation. Our images, of course, are fueled by our interpretation. And what's important is for us to change those images. So, the image itself is often big, it's close, it's loud, and it's sharp, it's explosive. That's how we view our experiences that give birth to our angry emotional state. So what I want you to do is this. When something like that occurs, take a step back, shrink that image, divorce it from you or push it away from you, dim those colors, and slap a silly Donald Duck voice on it. That's right. And here's a key. The sillier you are, the more success you'll have, the more joy you'll have, and that will combat your negative emotion, in this case, anger. So instead of increasing the volume of it and thinking about how loud it is and giving it big, bright colors and sharp textures, shrink it, push away, dim it, and slap a silly voice on it. It's a silly situation. Why am I acting this way? Why am I doing this? It's all silly. So, therefore, we must then reframe the meaning of the picture. This is a very good and golden point, a golden nugget, as you would say, concerning this conversation. As I said before, and here it is in another language, anger is fueled by our interpretation, not events. Take, for example, you and a friend want to go outside and explore the bar scene. And after a round of a couple of drinks, your friend wanders away just a little bit so that you can still hear the conversations that your friend is having. And they are telling silly jokes. They tell a silly joke about you. And then anger begins to percolate and say, why on earth did Cheryl or John say that? How could they disrespect me like that? And of course, anger begins to take over you, and then actions follow. One of the reasons why we have this emotion dominate our experience is because we don't know how to reframe the meaning. We also have to understand that may not be what our friend was intending on. Their intention might be totally different from our interpretation of the event. So instead of saying, how could they disrespect me? Say, what else could this mean? What else could they mean by this? Why would they do this? They could be a number of reasons. Maybe they're making a silly joke to kind of nudge you so that you can get on the conversation and have fun too. Or maybe in their internal dialogue, they think, you know what? This is fun time. Let's not take ourselves so seriously. So you see, our friend, the friend in the picture, may be entirely innocent of wrongdoing, whereas us, we may end up with a more negative outlook of the event, which is entirely possible. Why? Because we don't have the perfect or a good representation of what's going on. So what I want you to do is this. Anchor calm emotions. This is a powerful technique, a very powerful psychological technique that will help you balance your anger. What I want you to do is close your eyes and recall a time in the past when you feel this wonderful amounts of joy, pleasure, and a sense of calmness. Whatever event that is, I want you to close your eyes and examine it. Feel it, smell it, taste it, hear it, embrace it. We're activating our auditory and all of our other senses along with this picture. And make it big, like a big movie theater screen. And just watch that over and over and over again. Relive it vividly. And just breathe in and take in that great experience. And what I want you to do now, after you take some time to relive that scene, I want you to take your index finger here, right here, and your thumb and place them together as you are reliving that scene. This is acting as an anchor. So you play that scene again one more time, and you bring and you're touching your fingers together, and you relive that scene another time, so on and so forth. Do it 7, 8, 9 times with your fingers together, and relive it. Breathe it in. Breathe in and out through the nose, and rest and relax. The reason why I told you to bring your two fingers together is because this will act as a trigger. And every time you bring those two fingers together, then that will encourage you to go back in time and relive those emotions based on this beautiful picture that you played in your mind during this time. That's called anchoring calm emotions over negative emotions. So whenever your anger begins to get a foothold, bring your two fingers together, and that will flood in good, positive emotions. They'll certainly wash away the bad and the negative. Another way is to change our self-talk. You know, we have a horrible sense of browbeating ourselves. And it comes naturally in the human race. We need to learn to stop doing that. And because anger really accelerates with our own hard harsh internal dialogue. So instead of saying, you are a miserable loser, change it, reframe it. Every day, get up in the morning, look yourself in the mirror and say, I am a genius. I am loved and I am respected. I deserve these things. Love yourself. And if you have to, some people give themselves hugs by crossing their arms and patting themselves like so, and just talking to themselves and saying, you are worthy, you are loved, you are respected. Self-love is absolutely important for this day and age, but it's so forgotten. So here's some concluding questions for you to ask yourself. Ask this: how do I want to be remembered handling this task? This task, of course, do I want to be remembered as that guy who got angry, who lashed out, and who made a fool of himself? Or do I want to be remembered as the calm, collected individual who handled it well? See, what we're doing now is we are looking to the future. Instead of necessarily being in the present or past, we're looking to the future and saying, how do I want to be remembered in this situation? It's another powerful technique. And what response aligns with the person I want to be? Do I want everybody, number one, to remember me as someone who loses their temper? Or do I want them to remember me as someone who is in control of their own life? So in conclusion, if you want more content like this, then please subscribe to our YouTube channel and also go to our website. We have hundreds of articles based on self-improvement, Qigong, Tai Chi, herbs, and basically mind-body medicine, helping one live their absolutely marvelous lives. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful, fulfilled day.